The important part, well, the important things on kickflip indies, obviously it starts with the flick, but it's not so much like a kickflip on flat ground. I've seen a lot of success where you imagine not popping at all when you flip. You just keep your foot on the tail and you strictly just try to flip it without popping. Just by rolling your front foot to flick it, you're gonna pick up the front truck a little bit. Obviously, we're not just going like this and just rolling our foot into the ground. But if we take our front foot and just roll it off of the nose with our foot on the tail, that's gonna be enough pop if you're invert. The next thing that we wanna cover is really where we're aiming the flip is a lot more important than how hard you're flipping it. You can flip it as hard as you want, but if you don't know where you're flipping it to, you're not gonna get very far. So if we think about where we want the board, if I were to ask you, okay, where are you flipping it to? Most people go, my hand. I'm like, okay, where's your hand? And you're like, right here. So it's like you wanna flip the board up and out here. Doesn't really make much sense. So we're gonna think about the flip without our hand first, and we're gonna figure out exactly where we want the board, so then we can flip it there, and when we grab it, we know it's a pretty good one that we can roll away from. On some of the grabs, when I'm like struggling with the grab, I think about rolling it up my shins when I flip it. So I let it roll, I let my foot roll off the nose, and then this board rolls up my shins, and I can grab it here, and that's pretty easy for me to get back on. The other thing that you can focus on is your balance and your rotation. Similar to the ending of a 540, the ending of a kickflip indie is gonna take a little bit of that down and forward feeling, where sometimes we want to avoid that on like our regular backside airs. I don't always want to go down and forward to get back in, but for kickflip indies and 540s, it's actually a pretty good feeling. So you get up, you're going through the vert. You just roll your foot off the nose. Minimal pop. If you're missing the flick and your board is hitting the tail and flying away, you're popping too much, you're gonna have to just do no pop at all. You roll your front foot off the nose. It rolls up your shins. You grab it, okay? I want you to avoid doing this position. I see it all the time. You grab kickflip indie and you're right here. Your chest is up and back and this lead arm is way back here, and you get your foot on, but nothing happens. What we want to do is as soon as we get this grab, we pick our legs up as high as we can and we lean our upper body down into the ramp and a little bit around, and we stand on that front leg. It's a really easy mistake to let everything get too wide, too open, and never get back in the ramp. Pop too much, get too wide, never get back in. I mean, it's like the holy grail of how not to do kickflip indies, but it's so natural to do it like that, that once you start working on this stuff, it's gonna feel a lot easier to roll away. So you got the grab, you got your legs up, you're in. You are aiming your front foot to go over the front bolt. As long as you have your front foot on the front bolt, when you're coming back in, you have all your stability in this front leg, you have all your balance, and your back foot can sort of land wherever on the board, and it's not that big of a deal. I've made tricks with my back foot all over the place, but my front foot is always good when it works. The other way around, it's not so great. If you have all your weight on your back foot, coming through that transition, as it flattens out, it's gonna be really hard to stay over the board. It's gonna wanna loop you out real hard. And you can see that, I'm not gonna go too high because I don't wanna actually loop out. But if I land on my back foot, that's crazy. If I land on my back foot, I'm back here, and as I go through the transition, it puts me more and more and more backseat all the way through. But if you're on your front foot, this weight's actually stabilized and staying in the same spot, okay? And you put it all together, and you got yourself a kickflip Indy.